Got two gentlemen here with us in the studios, Adakole Ijogi and Silas on both of them members of the People's Democratic Party. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain. Good morning, Margaret.
Thank you for having us.
So, just as some may have expected, there was not going to be chairs flying in some of those meetings, as the build-up might have suggested. But nonetheless, looking at those images in that report, some of them worthy of note, I might add. But let's start off with the comments that the BOT chairman was making there. It appeared as though there was some sort of, shall we say, complaint that, look, some things need to be corrected. We have our laws that is there stipulating how we should address some of these things. In other words, suggesting the PDP leadership needs to address the chairmanship position. He mentioned the secretary as well, which has caused division within the party. But alas, the decision was not to have them go, but till August. Was this something that he himself would be surprised with by the BOT chairman?
Thank you, Chamberlain. Thank you for having me. I don't think so, because the night before there was caucus. There was a caucus meeting of the NEC caucus that happened in the Bauchi State Governor's Lodge. So the BOT chairman is aware of that decision. But I would like to draw your attention to the fact that within the PDP, there's an internal mechanism of conflict resolution. That yes, it might look as if things are going gaga, but the PDP has been, I think it's the only political party that has been around for the past 26 years, since 1998. All those ones are new parties. So there have been some level of growth and development. Yes, we have some stumbling blocks. Yes, ambitions and desires have been clashing. Yes, bringing some level of, not confusion, but maybe, I would like to put it, maybe political brickmanship. But I tell you this, with the position of chairmanship, especially as someone from North Central Nigeria, I think that we are very patient people. Because if you know, the people, when we lost the woman leader in the South, that position was replaced by somebody from the zone. The same thing with zonal vice chairman Southwest. Now, the reason we took this time is to appeal to the Eastwell chairman, Senator Yochi Ayu, to withdraw his case in court. Okay. And then we fix the in-house, because the North Central is the heart of the People's Democratic Party.
So what was the point of the BOT chairman raising those issues if he already knew that they were going to go probably till August and allow that be sorted? So when he was raising that, it gave the impression that they needed to address that there and then.
No, I think he was raising the issue to bring it to the front burner, because he was part of the caucus meeting the night before. And even besides, if the North Central were to produce a chairman, the North Central caucus meeting, which I attended a couple of days before, actually a day before, would have nominated a consensus candidate. But yet, but up till now, the North Central is yet to agree on a consensus candidate, which is the practices that we have in the People's Democratic Party.
So, Silas, what about the impact of those feuding groups who had wanted the decisions to go their way, which is one way or the other? But at the end of the day, is it victory for any one of them, or the party has fully taken charge of all of this now?
Well, if you recall, last week I was here, we spoke about this issue, and I said that the people shouted on the media, especially those from the House of Reps, are just seeking attention because there is no vacancy for the office of chairman yet. The chairman, embattled chairman Yochi Ayu, is still in court. Even though a day...
At the time, huh?
Yeah, even though a day to the next we kept hearing he has withdrawn his case, we've not seen any process to that effect, right? So he's still in court. The deputy national chairman, is acting on his behalf in accordance with the PDP constitution. So to address the BOT chairman's concern, it doesn't matter if he acts for 1 year or 2 years, as long as the man is in court. If they don't want him to continue acting, they should ensure that there is vacancy.
But now, what about now? Ever since he withdrew the case?
I've not seen evidence of that withdrawal. You don't withdraw cases on pages of newspapers.
So wait, is it that the party doesn't believe the case is withdrawn?
I don't know. That issue was not discussed in NEC at all. These issues were not discussed.
What about the caucus meeting? Was it raised?
These issues were not discussed.
And I've seen it, and I've seen the copy of the withdrawal list.
Good.
He has withdrawn it.
Now, if he has withdrawn it,
yes, I've seen
and it's been brought to the attention of the party, the legal advisor receives it and tenders before the NWC, the office will be made vacant or declared vacant, right? And then the need to now get a substantive national chairman will be placed on the table. The politics for national chairman is different from the politics for national women leader or zonal vice chairman. These ones are zoned to a particular sub-region, right? National chairman is zoned in blocks, and there are just 2 blocks in the party, North and South. So that's why you have 2 deputy national chairmen, one representing the Northern block, the other one representing the Southern block. So when they want to now discuss the issue of replacing IU, the Northern block will have to meet, comprising North Central, North East, and Northwest. They'll have to meet and agree that it should go back to Benue, if that is what they want.
Is it back to, wait.
I mean, they should go back to North Central, if that is what they want, right? If they agree that it should go back to North Central, in the North Central, they also have to sit and agree that it should go back to a particular state. As you know, we're hearing that even the PDP candidate in the last election in Nasarawa State is also interested. That is Ombugadu. Yes, is also interested. Meaning that the North Central will have to now agree on which states. So the whole game is now going to be put on the table, and whichever block in the North plays their game very well will take it. So nobody has an entitlement. Let me finish.
Just to correct you, point of order. Just to correct you.
As soon as it finishes, you respond to it.
Nobody has an entitlement to an office in a political party. Nobody has an entitlement. The North Central had it. They bungled it. It wasn't anybody that removed IU. It is his ward.
Okay.
Right? So it can go anywhere.
Let him respond to that.
As someone who, as an individual who attended the North Central caucus meeting a day before the NEC meeting, we had only one resolution, which is to obey, I think, Section 41 of the PDP Constitution, which is what the BOT chairman was making reference to, which is that when an officer resigns or is removed from office, the zone where he comes from should produce his replacement. So did North Central make that resolution, took it to the caucus and also to NWC and also to NEC. If you read the NEC, the resolution from the NEC meeting, you find it there that North Central should produce the replacement for the national chairman after the Congress.
We're not saying different things.
No, you're saying that it's open to the North and saying
the zone he comes from.
It is zoned to North Central.
If you listen,
it's not zoned to when you say it's
not the North.
If you listen to my analysis, the national chairman position is zoned in blocks, not to a sub-region.
Do you disagree with that?
I disagree with him. He's a lawyer. He's not a politician.
No, just a moment. I'm just trying to see now. There are 2 different situations here. Yes, there's a general situation that normally this is what happens. Yeah. But in this instance, I believe that's what you're referring to, that in this instance, it has been micro-zoned to the North Central.
Yes.
But generally, I mean, assuming you were to go to a convention, for instance, where a fresh chairman were to be elected, is it correct when he says that it's usually zoned either North or South?
Well, he's half correct. Because if you remember the pronouncement of the chairman, listen to me, I'm not a politician. If you remember the pronouncement of the chairman, I think the former governor of Abia State, who was the chairman of the zoning committee. You remember they said what? Swap. All positions that were in the South should be moved to the North. All positions in the North to move to the South. So it's a general blanket thing. Then the regions will now decide the small micro-zoning. So it's not only for the position of national chairman, it's for all. So this position of publicity secretary was held by Kola. Kola is from Kogi State, not Central. When they say to switch to the South, it now moved to, I think, Oyo. I think Debo is from, I think, Oyo State. So you see, it's not only position of national chairman, no. And the Northern Caucus met. I was part of that meeting before IU's emergence, even the one in Benue House when IU emerged. And we know who all the contestants were. Before it was zoned, In fact, if you know the intrigues in those meetings, you won't sound like
okay.
this.
So why are you very particular about this particular? Why are you very, very insistent that that's how it is usually micro-zoned?
Because
it is zoned to geopolitical
because
zones.
it is zoned to the North Central, and in the PDP constitution, go and read the constitution. In the PDP constitution, say when an officer resigns or is removed, he should be replaced with another officer from the same zone.
Okay, that's peculiar to when an officer resigns or is removed, but not conventions.
No, not conventions. Not conventions.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Well, for purposes of just allaying his mind and his fears about whether I'm a politician or not, Mr. Ajogi, I was a state chairman of PDP, and I contested for Senate. I'm not sure you have contested for any of such position or held any party office like me.
No, this is
so listen, so just to take you there before you misunderstand the issue now. National chairmanship is not publicity secretary. There are 2 deputies for national chairman, and these 2 deputies is to ensure that the national chairman, his zone or his block, is protected. In the event of a vacancy, right, of the national chairman, like this case now that IU is not around, the constitution says his deputy north shall act, meaning the interest that he's representing is the north. If that is not the case, there is a national vice chairman, not central. They should have brought him to act on behalf of IU and not the deputy national chairman. That is to tell you that it wasn't micro-zoned to Northwest. It was zoned to the North. The North decides what part of North produces chairman. It's not the business of the South. Now, where you will have an issue in this circumstance now, where the constitution of the party will breach, is if the party is trying to bring a new chairman from the South. Then you have left the zone. The North will have to complete the tenure of IU, not the South. So the issue of saying it must be North Central.
It does appear that there certainly is an agenda now. I think I have a number of people.
I don't know what agenda is. Go and read the constitution, my brother.
There certainly is an agenda. But let's take a look at Daily Independent, because I know that the papers are awash, capturing the stories in many different ways. And what I see right here on the front page of Daily Independent is quite intriguing. Relief for embattled Damagum as Wike's camp trounces articles. Would you say that captures what happened yesterday?
Well, as an insider, there are certain things that we can say in the media and certain things we cannot say. But I'll tell you this, though.
The media is saying it anyway.
No, that's not what it is. That's not what it is.
Okay, so tell us what it is.
No, let me put it this way. Let me say the palatable one. The intrigues that you have in the People's Democratic Party at the moment is a fallout of the PDP primaries of last year and the presidential election. Some of us who were for power shift to the South, it's no gainsaying it. It's out there. 3 days to the election, I was on the same studio. That whole process has not completely healed itself. And for me, as I call myself a replacement generation leader within the party, you cannot have reconciliation without truth. It's truth and reconciliation. At that time, the process was bridged because power was supposed to shift to the South. But unfortunately, the ticket was picked by another candidate, which is the first time in our history. Go and look at the PDP. Any party, any national chairman, you see national chairman from the South, presidential candidate from the North. That's how we have been since 1998, when Obasanjo picked the ticket and Chief Solomon Lar was the party chairman. But this time around, things have been changing. And then the process actually, for me, like I said in that last interview before the elections, actually started in 2014. And these principal players are still the ones within the party. So for me, I think that we must have truth and truly reconcile. It is not about camps. There are camps. Even in Benue, I have my own camp because Benue is supposed to go for these congresses that is coming. My own local government, Ado, has not produced the state chairman. And I think that Ado should produce the chairman.
What kind of truth are you talking about in this case?
You see, the thing about politics, let me tell you this, Chamberlain, my brother, is that one of the things, as somebody who has understudied most of these people, I've worked for former Senate President David Mark, former Senate President Saraki, Professor Jerry Garner, late Senator Isaiah Ballat. I've been with these guys. They have been grooming me in the last 18 years. I can tell you this. I have noticed that political culture stems from our personal, idiosyncrasies. And I can tell you that there's some meetings that we go for, and we do, and there's an agreement. Then they go outside and they do a completely different thing. Now, you cannot run, as even in a band of armed robbers, there's some honor and respect within armed robbers, not to talk of politicians that are respectable men of the society. I'm saying that we must tell ourselves the truth. You can't be shouting like Ugo Chinyere, shouting that there must be discipline in the party, there must be, punishment for those that did anti-party. Then I'll say, hey, what about those that did it in 2014, that actually left the party, joined the APC to remove a sitting PDP government? What did you do with them?
So that has not been dealt with?
It hasn't been dealt with. You rewarded them with our presidential ticket in 2019, in 2023. So don't bring all those issues here. Let's tell ourselves the basic truth, that the party has been moving in, that is, political interests and political ambitions has trumped the party objective.
But you were the one who said that the party also has its own internal ways of resolving problems.
To stop the implosion. You won't see PDP implode. No, you won't hear those unnecessary...
But when you see how, things have gotten out of hand, the fact that the party hasn't won anything at the national level, and this has been like a self-inflicted injury.
Yes, it's PDP versus PDP.
Yeah, would you really say that this internal resolution or internal conflict mechanism for resolution is working? Is it really working?
I think, let me quote your guest yesterday, a very respectable member of our party, Barrister Humphrey Abba, who said that you cannot bring, as a lawyer, my brother can even add to this, you cannot bring somebody that is already partisan in the process to be the judge. You have to get people who are non-partisan. And in this case, it is conflicting because there are very few people that are not partisan. Like, I don't want to call names.
So was there a resolution yesterday from what you saw? Does it appear that there is now an attempt to move towards truth?
Yes,
and then reconciliation?
Yes, the NEC set up a disciplinary and reconciliatory commission. I am advising that we must tell ourselves the basic truth. We did not follow the party constitution. We're in breach of it. There's rotation in the PDP constitution. We didn't follow it. There are some people that have hurt the party, that they have not been redressed. Instead, they've been rewarded with certain things within the party. We should tell ourselves the truth. And then we should reward and acknowledge people like former Governor Nyesom Wike, who have been a pillar in the party. I mean, we don't reward people that have stood for the party, fought for the party, funded the party. Instead, we play some kind of ethno-religious politics at the end of the day. And young leaders like myself, we strongly disagree with those processes. And so we must have that truth and reconciliation. Tell ourselves the in-house truth, minimum truth, to say this is what it is before we can move on to building a stronger opposition party.
Do you disagree with that?
Well, he has said so many things. I don't know which one to agree with.
Well, first and foremost, do you think that there was camps yesterday and one camp won or had the upper
like I said last week, there are interests. I do not see camps. And it is unfortunate the way the media reports these political activities. It seems like a deliberate ploy to stoke crisis in the party. When I saw it, which is camp trounce Atiku, I don't see it like that. I don't see it like that. There are interests. And
so which interest prevailed yesterday?
None. The party prevailed yesterday. The party prevailed. Nobody can go and say, I won or the other one lost. The party prevailed.
And whose interest was it that Damagum stayed?
It is in the party's interest. We need the party stabilized. All right. I said that much last week. Damagum has been stabilizing the party, and that is why he has not been wielding the big hammer on people.
Okay, you'll still respond further. I mean, I just got questions for both of you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chamberlain. Mr. Ono, let me stick with you. There's something that Mr. Ijogi said the other time when he said the party seems to have breached its own process in the build-up to the general elections of 2023, that ideally, it should have been national chairman from one side of the country and the presidential candidate from the other. But this time around, it was toppled. Now, there are those naturally who would say, okay, this is part of the problem. Now, how do you think that the party can deal with that? Because looking at the room yesterday, it seemed that there's a lot of tension. Tension was still very, very high. But that issue is like an elephant in the room that anyone can see. How should the party deal with that in the light of what Mr. Ijogi also called truth and reconciliation?
Well, thank you, Makinde. If you want to start talking about truth and reconciliation, you're just going to burn down the house. We've passed that place. We are no longer in the 2023 presidential or general election. The crisis that was generated by that election have largely been put behind us. This is a completely new politics. It is about 2027. It's not about 2023 anymore. People are strategizing to take control of the party ahead of 2027. So the earlier you understand that, or we understand that, the better. So what we need to do now, if there are mistakes made in the 2023 build-up 2023 election, we need to avoid such mistakes going forward. And that is why I said the national chairmanship position is strictly for the North. Now, if that is agreed, the national chairmanship position is strictly for the North, are we now going to insist that the presidential candidate in 2027 comes from the South? That would be in line with the spirit of the Constitution, right? So the North can take the chairman, the South prepares for who will become president, and then the issue is sorted. But if we continue to dilly-dally on this issue, we will not really make headway.
Well, Mr. Ono, the question that I'm asking, just 1 second. Just 1 second.
In 2025.
Yeah, my apologies if you can hear me, Mr. Ono. The reason I asked the question is not to take us back, because it's only natural for someone to say, well, you know what someone is going to do by what he's done before. And if you don't want to repeat your mistake, you redress it, find out exactly where you're coming from. So if it happened the other time and everyone knew the culture, I don't know whether it's a rule, everyone knew the culture of the House and the PDP, national chairman from one side of the country, the presidential candidate from the other side of the country, it didn't happen. As Mr. Ijogi also said, do you think that wound, if I can call it that, has been healed?
Well, that has not impacted on the party to the extent of disintegrating the party. That's what I'm saying. The party still stands. We lost the last election. So we're moving forward. We're looking ahead to 2027. This National Working Committee's tenure elapses in 2025. If the party now agree to zone that chairmanship position to the South, it will follow that the North will produce a presidential candidate, or the South can argue that a precedent has been set.
Okay. That
the same zone that has chairman can also produce presidential candidate. Because politics, just like law, you also follow precedents and traditions.
Okay.
So well, let me ask. The politics becomes a precedent.
Yes.
People can look back to what happened in 2023 tomorrow and say it has happened before.
All right. Let me ask Mr. Ijogi the same question, if he agrees. Yes. I don't know if Mr. Ijogi agrees with you that we can just move on without dealing with what happened in the past.
No, certainly not. I slightly disagree with my brother here. I think that in the political process, you must deal with specific issues and calm specific nerves, because it's about political interests. It's about personal ambitions. Now, you must ensure that your personal ambition is not bigger than that of the parties. Now, if there are disagreements, and in this case, very strong disagreements, and like I said in this same station, during the run-up to the 2023 election, you look at it and everybody's shouting yes or Winke. It's not yes or Winke. There were so many people around who disagreed with the whole process. It's not only the G5 governors. There are so many others. Yes or Winke was just the arrowhead of the G5. Now you must get everybody together in a room and say, you know what? We made a mistake. This is what we are going to do moving forward. Moving forward, we are going to stick to the rules of the game. And as politicians and as leaders, we must provide and build a stronger, viral political party that stand instead, or as opposition party that is ready to be the next government. I mean, look at all the failings of the APC. The PDP has gone to sleep. I mean, I actually thought Chamberlain was going to talk to me about my ideas of running the party, because I was going to talk about preventionists and innovationists, which are the two ideological bases within the party. Yeah. People who want to change the party, and people who want to preserve.
Which is where we should actually go. Just a second. Which is where we should actually go, because I was going to ask you, so the issue has not been resolved. Frayed nerves have not been calmed. The consequence didn't just affect the presidential ambition of the PDP as a party. It also affects several other interests of the party in the last election. In order to avoid such a thing happening or perpetuating itself, what do you think should be done from the issues you intended to raise? What are the things that need to be done now to ensure that we don't find ourselves in this coffer all the time?
Okay, let me confirm to you, my brother, that the crisis that you have, or the disagreements more like that you have in the party, is not only at the national level. Even in Plateau, we have not resolved it. You remember, we lost all our National Assembly seats on the Plateau because of some slight difference between two political gladiators on the Plateau. I think that moving forward, the People's Democratic Party should not only set up a reconciliatory committee, we should move beyond that. We should go to a point where we get the party solid, so as to ensure that you remove the causes of all these problems. That is over-bloated ambition, that is imposition, injustice, high-headedness, people feeling the right of entitlement. We should make sure we structure all these things nicely and put people in position who can actually face these political gladiators to reduce and stem down their over-bloated ambition and their level of entitlement. I think that we need strong party hands and ensure that the PDP transforms into an institution, and that is not built on any individual, an institution that it is.
How do both of you think that the party needs to get young people back on the side? Because many think the horse has since bolted from the stable ever since the last elections.
Well, Chamberlain, thank you for that question. I said so to the runoff of the last election. The 6-point-something million votes that Obi got, they're not members of Labour. All of them are not members of Labour Party. I told them the election or electoral demography in Nigeria is changing. Young people who were born in 1999 at the turn of this democracy are 25 years old. They are beginning to, or 24 years old, or 25, they are beginning to think differently. That to include them in this process, we must recruit the best and brightest of them. We must reach out to these young people. And then when they look at the PDP chairman, all they are seeing at the PDP, all they are seeing is Bode George or Silas, who's an ancestor who was in a PDP chairman in 1999. They get discouraged.
Can you imagine that? Is it the same side as
you said you have been
it's been an ages.
Well,
did you see that coming?
the thing is, change cannot be dramatic. Change must be gradual. When you listen to my friend here and the complaints of crisis, you cannot have a political party without divergent interests. It is interest that people call crisis. It will always be there. Those who don't have their way will say the party is not working. Those who have their way will say everything is well with the party. Right? So you can't do away with crisis in a political party. After all, it is a place where people come with different ideas on how to run a party. And gradually, those who are interested in leadership position have to make themselves available for it. You need to participate in your politics locally, from your ward. You don't sit in Abuja and be expecting to become a national chairman or national youth leader. You can see the PDP for the first time in a long while. Look at our national youth leader, young one. We used to be a party where a national youth leader would be in his 60s. All political parties. But gradually, these changes are taking place.
Yeah, but do you think that was actually an anomaly in the sense that, the reason why there was a national youth leader was to ensure that there was somebody who was representing that demography and catering. So do you think that in some ways hampers young people from aspiring to the highest position within the party?
No.
Because right now, if somebody...
I think so. I think that the party should do it.
If somebody decides, somebody young, maybe in his 40s, decides, or 30s, decides to run for national chairman, they'll say, isn't national youth leader enough for you people?
No, there's a 44-year-old.
Let me say something now. Let's say it as it is. The Nigerian political party system, not just PDP, is not yet one where you aspire and they say there is a vacancy for national chairman now. As he is contending that he's not central, he's from North Central. He can't just buy form and say he wants to contest for national chairman.
Why not?
He'll be wasting his money.
Maybe he'll talk to that.
He'll be wasting his money, he knows, because the interests will not accommodate him. There are people who already are eyeing who they want for the chairman.
Let's quickly respond.
It's not an elective position where you have people just come and based on your campaign manifesto, they vote for you.
Can you vie for the chairman?
Doesn't work.
Of course. I'm actually even consulting. I think that PDP, to answer, PDP should move away from this structure of youth, woman leader, youth leader. I think we should move away from not too young to run to not too young to lead. That's how I want to end my statement today.
Okay. That's not a bad place to end it because, yes, business morning on Sunrise, it will be coming up on the hour. But we have to thank both of you for coming on.
Thank you.
Adakole Ijogi and Silas, on members of PDP.